back to my channel. I'm James, and today we're going to be talking about and reviewing one of these films that's a really great Christmas classic that's set back in the 1940s. So I'm excited to announce we're going to deep dive into A Christmas Story, the brand new 4K Ultra HD release by Warner Brothers. Now today I'm going to be doing my exclusive 4K versus the original Blu-ray release image comparisons. That's where I pull the data off of each of the discs and show you side by side the differences and the quality differences between both releases to let you know which one comes out the winner and which one is the one you should own, or if you should upgrade to the new 4K Ultra HD. Then at the end I'll always wrap it up as I always do with my review score. That lets you know the quality and the overall quality in comparison to hundreds of other 4Ks I've exclusively tested and reviewed here on this YouTube channel. Now to start off with here, this is the original 2008 Blu-ray release. There's some important things I need to discuss with you before we even get into the 4K here to make sure you understand some things about this film. Now, A Christmas Story was filmed in 1983, and it's set back in the 1940s in Indiana. But there's an important thing to understand. The way the film is filmed is based off of a book that was intentionally supposed to be about Ralphie's, basically, memories and him telling the story about when he was a child growing up in the 1940s. There's an important reason for that. It was filmed very, very heavily with soft filters, and that was intentional. But there was some issues with Warner Brothers' original Blu-ray releases and all the releases they did on Blu-ray from then, because the scan they did with using some DNR and then also all the artifacting and blocking and numerous issues that plagued this, as well as the fact that most of the film grain was gone from almost entirely the Blu-ray altogether. So there were so many things inherent on this Blu-ray release that made that soft overall look of the dreamlike memory appearance that the film has look so much worse on Blu-ray than it ever was intended to be, or what it ever looked like back in 1983 when it came out in theaters. And that's where the Blu-ray always had a very, very poor reception, and if you've seen the film on Blu-ray, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The colors on it were heavily desaturated. Heck, most of the colors on it, like when it was reds, like the opening title sequence, a lot of those, unless you pumped your color saturation on your TV up so artificially, the actual colors for a lot of the reds in it were actually pink. They weren't even red, they were just a light pink. That's how poor the Blu-ray releases were of A Christmas Story before. And that's how I originally saw it. I never saw it in theaters originally. I wish I would have, because to be honest with you, my understanding is it was a drastically different looking film than the Blu-ray ever did. And that's what really affected my thoughts on the film originally when I said I didn't like it originally. It looked so poorly on Blu-ray that I thought to myself, I'm having trouble seeing everything. And it is one of those things, if you've seen these Blu-rays, you know what I'm talking about. It is so poor looking, but then just so darn blurry and out of focus the entire time that I thought that's the way it was intended to be. It's not. It was supposed to be dreamlike, but not so blurry that you really couldn't see much detail on this at all. Now getting to the new 4K Ultra HD release. Right away you should see in the native images pulled from these discs. As always, these are the native images pulled from the discs. That means without all the artificial things your TV or player can do to alter them. These are what's present on the disc and the natural way you should be viewing those films. Now, as far as the native images present on this disc, you'll notice right away it does have the film grain intact. They did not scrub it with DNR. The film grain is beautifully intact. It's stable throughout most of the entire film with only some slight fluctuations, which is a night and day drastic difference from the previous Blu-ray that was scrubbed in most of the film grain but was so hazy and just ugly of an appearance altogether. This looks drastically different. Now, the other things that are drastically changes on this, because they did a new 4K scan from the original camera negatives, is that you do get a healthy increase in details in the image. That makes a big difference for what you see on this. Now, the reason I started off explaining to you about the way it was intended originally or how it was filmed. This will never look like, for example, my recent review I did of Elf. If you haven't checked out that review yet, that's available here on this YouTube channel as well. I did my exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons on that as well. But in Elf, it drastically enhanced the details and clarity of that image drastically. But that's also because it was filmed drastically differently. This was intentional, that it's supposed to have a slight hazy dreamlike appearance, but not nearly as bad as the Blu-ray made it out to be. When I watched this on 4K Ultra HD, my wife and I have seen this film numerous times since we started watching it many years ago. And we've always seen it on the previous Blu-ray release, and we always just really couldn't stand how basically it's hard to see much of anything in the film. It's that bad to see any real details in people's faces or hair, anything. I mean, it's just so hazy, blurry, and fuzzy. On the new 4K Ultra HD release, it still retains a slight hazy look that was intended because of the filters they used. But oh my, are the details and what you can see in even the background and their hair and face, because they didn't scrub all the film grain out of this like they did on a lot of the Blu-ray release, you can see things that you could never see on that Blu-ray release, especially in reds. I mean, holy cow, the new HDR10 that they did on this with the new color grading lends so beautifully to this film because it is a Christmas film. So it has when they go to the mall and they're seeing Santa and the Christmas lights and the reds and things like that. They shine through so great on this, whereas on that previous Blu-ray, like I mentioned, they looked like they were pink. And a lot of the reds in it just kind of appeared a more darkish pink, not red. They're actually red on this, where you actually see clearly that they were red. Santa's suit is no longer kind of a light, kind of hazy, dark pinkish, somewhere around there. It's actually red the way it's intended to be, just like the Christmas Story logo that comes out at the beginning of the film. It's red, as opposed to on the original Blu-ray, it was like a darkish pink, not even anywhere close to red. And that shows you the drastic difference with this new scan that they did and how much better it looks overall as a film. Now, if you enjoy this content I create here on my YouTube channel, make sure to go down and give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you get notified every time I release one of these exclusive reviews that I come out with. So make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Now, this new 4K is a native 4K 2160p. So because they went back to the original film elements like what I was explaining and scanned that to create this new 4K, it lends so much more beautifully to the details you get with that film grain and everything that shows up through this, that the Blu-ray just looks so overall horrible. I didn't realize how bad that Blu-ray really was. I kind of just thought that's the way it was always intended to look until I sat down and watched this, and my wife and I were just kind of like, kept blinking like, man, I'm seeing things that I've never seen before in this film. That then we went and put the Blu-ray back in again, and it's like you feel like you got to constantly wipe your eyes because you just can't see much of anything. It's that poor. Now, talking about the audio on this does have an English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 mix on it. Now, it also gets a Dolby Digital in French and in Spanish, but as far as the English audio goes, it is an improvement over the previous Blu-ray releases audio. Though, I will be honest with you, but it was a few fractions of a point taken off because of the fact that I do wish it would have gotten like a 5.1 mix or an Atmos, or they would have reworked the audio a little better. I think they could have done a lot more with the range with it and done some things with the technology that are available now. The DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 does sound good on this, and it is an upgrade over the Blu-ray, but it's nowhere near as much of an upgrade as like what National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation got. And I did that review here just recently that you'll want to check out that one as well, but for National Lampoon's, it did get a remastered audio mix, and that sounded way better than the previous Blu-ray, and I really wish they would have done something like that for Christmas Story, because it would have really benefited with, in my opinion, a better sounding and more range in the audio mix. The 2.0 sounds good, and again, it is an upgrade over the Blu-ray, but just not as drastic as a lot of the audio mixes like what I talked about in National Lampoon's. Now, you do get subtitles in this in English, French, Spanish, and Netherlands. Those are all available on it, but those are your only audio and subtitle options. Now, if after you get done watching this review and hearing my review score, you do decide you want to pick up and buy A Christmas Story on 4K Ultra HD, I always post those links in the description section right below this video and in the comment section right below this video as well. You click on those, it takes you straight out to Amazon. I've made it nice and easy for you. Those never cost you a penny extra out of your pocket, but those do help to support this YouTube channel just a little bit, and that's how I'm able to keep producing all this content. So make sure if after you get done watching my review and hearing my review score that you do decide you want to buy A Christmas Story on 4K Ultra HD, make sure to click through those links down below. Those really do help out. Now, like I was referencing about the HDR10, to touch on that a little bit more, the HDR10 did make a drastic difference. As you're noticing with the standard HDR images above, you can see a big difference in the lights to darks, the colors, the new color grading. They stand out phenomenally well for this film, drastically over that previous Blu-ray, that I thought the color grading on this was so night and day drastic of an improvement because of how bad the Blu-ray looked, that again, it really felt like I was watching a brand new version of A Christmas Story, because I didn't realize that that Blu-ray was just so horribly made before, that now seeing it this way, I wish this is the way I would have seen it originally on Blu-ray, because I mean, honestly, that was a big detractor for why my wife and I didn't like this film many years ago when we saw it for the first time, was because we thought the Blu-ray looked so horrible. Well, this looks great, and it adds to the story of it now. That's where I feel like it just made the film a whole new thing, that a lot of people that maybe missed out on this, or maybe they'd seen it on TV and seen the horrible HD transfer it had before, now getting to watch it in this, it really is like an eye-opener and experiencing it for the first time ever. The other thing I did encounter when I was doing all my testing through all my different displays and side-by-sides, there was some slight digital noise in some of the scenes where the snow and the kids are outside in the snow. You could notice some slight digital noise, or what they call digital artifacting, that it's basically where the film grain, and when they're doing the digital scan from the original film elements, it would kind of cause a slight clumping effect. Now, it's very brief, and I'd probably say I noticed it about 2 to 3 times for an overall of maybe about 3 to 4 seconds out of the entire film. So that's how brief it is, but I always do mention that, and that's where it did get a few fractions of a point taken off for those few seconds that it had on that, because it would have been nice to not have that clumping at all. But again, it's not through the entire film, because like I said, the film grain looked very good throughout it. It was very stable with only some slight fluctuations, but those brief scenes just seem to have to do with, basically because the snow's coming down, it seems like when they did this new scan, it just had some slight little issues in just those few seconds. Now, touching on what you get in this, I do like this cover artwork. I really like these shiny metallic slipcovers that Warner Brothers does. It says A Christmas Story on the side. Then on the back here, it talks about it. Now, you do get all your previous bonus features from your previous Blu-ray releases. You do get a commentary on the actual 4K Ultra HD disc as well. You do get a Movies Anywhere digital copy code. That's a 4K one that you can redeem if you want to do that as well. Then getting inside here, you do get 2 different colored discs. Yay! Warner Brothers, out of all these releases I've been reviewing recently of these Christmas releases, finally gave us differentiating colors, at least on the disc, so we can tell the difference easily. This is the Blu-ray disc, this is the 4K disc in red. Both discs I did exclusively test, as I always do. They are both region free, so no matter where you live worldwide, you'll be able to play both discs seamlessly, no issues whatsoever. Talking about the Blu-ray disc here, this is the new scan. It's got the new menu. Everything that this had on it is basically dumbed down to the Blu-ray. So the nice thing is they did give us a new Blu-ray in this as well. So that was a one-up over some of the previous Christmas reviews that I've been talking about. It was nice that Warner Brothers kind of went the extra mile and gave us a new Blu-ray in here. So those of you that want to upgrade but aren't into 4K yet, but you want the best quality of A Christmas Story, you do get this nice Blu-ray included in here to enjoy until you're ready to experience it in all its 4K glory with its HDR10. So that does future-proof things in this release, so that was a nice benefit that they gave us those as well. Now, because of how poor this original Blu-ray release was, like I've said sometimes in the past, it's not hard for a lot of these companies to beat some of these horrible Blu-rays they did before, but in this case with A Christmas Story, this one was one of those top tier horrible releases. Now, to be honest with you, it's great news that the 4K Ultra HD came out as good as it does. The image is nice on it, though I will say it one more time, because I know there's a lot of people that simply won't understand this if they've never seen this film before. It is intended to have a soft appearance because it's supposed to be Ralphie's memories that you're living through and his dreams. So that is intended with the way that this was filmed on purpose. Though this is the best version that A Christmas Story has ever looked. And it truly is eye-opening. As you've noticed from those screenshot comparisons above, the 4K Ultra HD release from Warner Brothers is absolutely outstanding looking over the previous Blu-ray release. Now remember, we're comparing this to the previous Blu-ray releases. Compared to Elf, it's never going to be like the modern Elf is because Elf was not filmed with those kind of hazy appearance on purpose. But this is the best A Christmas Story has truly ever looked, and to be honest with you, if anybody has never seen this film, they need to skip that Blu-ray release. Do not watch any of the Blu-ray releases of A Christmas Story because it will ruin your appearance and thoughts of that film. You need to see it in 4K Ultra HD and see it the way it's intended because man, did it change my wife's opinion about what she originally thought when she originally saw this film. Now getting to my review score for A Christmas Story, this gets an amazing 9.4. This is a must-buy. It is a wonderful Christmas classic, and I don't know if any of you have seen the new trailer for the sequel they're doing. I actually thought it looked pretty good and entertaining, and I'm kind of excited to see it. But as far as this goes, this is a great Christmas classic. 9.4 is a great review score. It is the best that A Christmas Story has ever looked. I truly have never seen it look this good, ever. Blows everything about that Blu-ray just completely away. To be honest with you, I'm honestly so happy that it looks nothing like this horrible Blu-ray, that it is actually an enjoyable film now where you can actually see things that you never saw on that Blu-ray and enjoy the film where now it's not kind of like a drab film that kids kind of felt like A Christmas Story just always looked drab and my kids always felt like it just wasn't a pretty film to look at. Now when they watch it, it's actually pretty to look at. It's actually something that you actually sit down and say, man, it's got nice visuals, man, I can see colors and clarity and skin tones, and the depth to the image with the HDR10 came through very nicely on this release. It earned its 9.4, though it would have gotten it much higher if we could have gotten a new audio mix. Like I said, they would have done something with that, and those slight other things I talked about with the digital noise. But otherwise, this is a great release. And one last thing I want to share. I know a lot of you have been asking a lot about this recently, so I've been sharing a lot more of my testing data with all of you. The Christmas Story had a rough average bitrate of roughly 83 megabits per second. That is, out of all the Christmas reviews I've done recently, this is the winner so far for the best average bitrate throughout the entire film, which is why it lends so nicely to the stability of this and how good it looks compared to that previous Blu-ray as well. So that was a nice other bonus. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know I share a lot more of this testing data that I dive into with all of you. And if you've been following about a lot of these Christmas reviews, I've been sharing that with all of you. This one so far has the healthiest and strongest average bitrate of all of the Christmas releases so far. So another big bonus that went into the 9.4 that A Christmas Story easily earned. This is a worthy upgrade. It is one that I can't even explain to you how bad and how poor you will never, ever, 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 ever want to watch those Blu-rays again. Throw it in the trash, get rid of it. It's literally, I think that transfer is trash. I mean, it literally is trash. But that is how amazing and good of a job they did making A Christmas Story look the best it ever has, and that I honestly think we're ever going to get. Like we've talked about a lot on this YouTube channel, I do feel like 4K Ultra HD is the final physical media format. That's what they're going to work on building libraries out on. That's why, as I've talked about, Sony's been doing, they've re-released some of their 4Ks that have had either new like Dolby Vision or updated with better bit rates, things like that, to enhance the picture. And it seems like 4Ks are what we're going to be stopping at. Now we will get 8K TVs and things, but it'll just be 4K content on physical media that upscale to that and things like that. But this 4K release is one of those that you'll watch over and over again every single Christmas. Make sure to start that conversation in the comment section below. Let me know how excited you are for this. I have been working overtime. I don't even know how to explain to all of you how little I've been sleeping and how hard I've been working lately to make all of this content for all of you. If you enjoy the hard work and all this time I put in, it really does make a difference, and it really does help out me and my YouTube channel by joining the Collectors VIP Club. Now there's exclusive video content I release for only my VIP Club members. They get exclusive votes, and there's a bunch of benefits you get from it as well. It always costs you less than the price of a cup of coffee to join that, so only a couple of dollars each month. But that couple of dollars is what helps me to be able to keep doing this full time, to provide all of this content, just like these exclusive image comparisons that all of you love watching. So make sure if you enjoy this, make sure to support my YouTube channel by clicking through those links in the description section below to buy any of these releases, joining my VIP Collectors Club, or giving a super thanks through the super thanks button that's right below this video. When you click on that button, it lets you give a tip of any amount on each of these videos as well. All of that does help out and shows that your support and appreciation for how much work I do for all of you. Make sure to give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification if you haven't done so already. Make sure to start that conversation down there. Let me know what your thoughts were when you first saw A Christmas Story. Was it your favorite film? Was it not your favorite film? Let me know what your thoughts are about that. Start that conversation down there below. As always, I hope all of you truly do always have a blessed day. And I've always got something new and exciting coming out very soon.